Hello and welcome to my channel. Before you go any further, don't forget to hit that like button, notification bell, and please subscribe. Now let's get to this recipe. Today I'm going to tell you how to make what's called irresistible peanut butter tandy cakes. Now if you're like me, like in the past I used to eat pretty unhealthy, okay? And tasty cakes was a regular thing because it's usually one of the things that's on sale at the grocery store. And one of my favorites was always the peanut butter tandy cakes of, tasty cakes. So I would always throw them in the freezer. So these go great in the freezer. I'm going to tell you, go over the list of ingredients, show you some pictures of the ingredients I use. I'm going to tell you the instructions. In the description below, I will have all this information, including the list of products, list of ingredients that I use, the brands I use. You can alternate and substitute anything you'd like for your ingredients. But let's go ahead and get to it. List of ingredients. Let's start with that. 2 cups of, it says here 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, I don't use all-purpose flour. I use the King Arthur bread flour. I like that for a lot of my cakes and breads alike. I use the King Arthur all-purpose flour more as a table flour. But you can use all-purpose flour, any brand you like. I'm just going to tell you what I use, and the stuff that I use makes it come out really, really good. I've never gotten any complaints on my tandy cakes. Next is 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of granulated sugar. Now for the sugar, I do use the Wellesley's Farms organic sugar cane. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now, in place of vegetable oil, since I don't buy vegetable oil, I don't use seed oils anymore in my cooking and baking. I use extra virgin olive oil. I replace that with that. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. 4 large eggs at room temperature. So you just set the eggs out on the table. I like pasture-raised eggs. I'm a big fan of those. I like, when it comes to my chicken, I like the chicken to be able to walk. So whether I'm eating the chicken or the egg, that's why I get pasture-raised. Next is 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. I always use pure vanilla extract. I prefer McCormick. That's here. 1 cup of milk. I usually use the 2% Horizon organic milk because that's what Aldi sells, and I do a lot of my grocery shopping at Aldi's. Next is 1.5 cups of creamy peanut butter. I use the Members Mark creamy peanut butter from Sam's Club. You can use any brand you like. I would suggest that you look on the back and make sure that, it doesn't have a lot of you don't want anything with chemicals in it. Peanut butter shouldn't have that in it. And there's a certain chemical that dogs can't eat that's in some peanut butters. I think it's xylitol or something like that. So you got to be careful with that. But yeah, so I use that peanut butter. And then 12-ounce bag of, it says semi-sweet chocolate chips. I use dark chocolate. I use the dark chocolate morsels, the Baker's Corner, I think it's called, from Aldi's. And sometimes if I'm at like a local grocery store, like Redner's, I'll grab, a bag of the Hershey's dark chocolate. But I'm a dark chocolate guy. I prefer that. So the recipe calls for semi-sweet chocolate chips, but you could put on any kind of chocolate you like. When I go to melt that chocolate, I always put like a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil in with it before I microwave it. That way, when I go to mix it up, it makes it nice and smooth, and it comes out really nice. It says here, like, they say it's optional to use coconut oil for that, but I use extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so let's go to the instructions. The instructions. First of all, you want to adjust the oven rack to the 2nd level mark. This is very important because you want it up higher near the top of the stove when you go to bake this type of cake, okay? It says, and then preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Coat a 15 by 10 by 1 inch jelly roll pan with a flour-based baking spray. Now, I use a cookie tray. That's what I use. I don't have a very specific jelly roll pan. I just use a cookie sheet. And then I use non-stick spray. Like anything that's like Pam, you can use anything like that. Put that on your tray. And then Then you're going to put that to the side while your oven preheats. Remember, you want that, rack at the second from the top. So whatever your second slot is from the top in the oven, that's where you want to have that rack at. You don't want it in the middle for this recipe. Now in a bowl, then you're going to combine all your dry ingredients, your flour, your baking powder, your salt, and just, blend those together. You can use a hand mixer. I used a spatula. My hand mixer was a cheap one and it broke. It didn't work well. So I just do it old school. I use a spatula. It takes a little more time and effort. You want to make sure that everything's smooth when you're mixing it and mixed right. But overall, it comes out fine. And then to the flour, baking powder, and salt, you want to add 2 cups of granulated sugar, your 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, your 4 large pasture-raised eggs, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I put all my stuff in a bowl together. I don't blend it separately. If you see on the video, on the short videos, you'll see that, what I do. Let's see here. Then switching, okay, after you've beat it and combined, you don't want to overmix. You also want to add that 1 cup of milk as you're mixing it. And then after you have it all mixed and nice and smooth, you want to pour the batter into your pan. For me, it was a cookie tray. If you have a jelly roll pan at home that's specific for that, down the road, you'll probably see me make a Swiss roll, which is also something you use a jelly roll for. But I also use, just a regular kitchen towel for that and cookie tray. Okay, so, and then after you pour your batter on the cookie tray, you want to just give it a few taps. Just pick it up and tap, tap, tap. It helps get all those bubbles off the top and keeps it smooth. Okay, and then you want to put it in the oven, bake it for 28 to 30 minutes. You want to go slightly golden brown on the top. Okay, and then when that's done, you want to remove it from the oven and you want to let it cool completely. Okay, and then once it's cooled completely, I melt my chocolate, and then I don't do anything to the peanut butter. I just put out spoonfuls of it throughout the tray, and then I take a butter knife and I smooth it all out, real nice and easy. And then I take the melted chocolate and I pour it on top and make sure that's, evenly spread. And then I put it in the freezer for like an hour or two, And then after I take them out of the oven, I set them on the table. I cut them into pre-made squares. And then I put some in the fridge and some in the freezer. I suggest that you keep them in the freezer. They taste a lot better, but you want to at least keep them in a cool environment. If you let them sit out, it's going to be like regular chocolate. Regular chocolate will melt in the heat. I'm sure any of you that eat candy like I have and do, when you go to open up a candy wrapper, and it's kind of melted, yeah, that's what you want to avoid. So keep these refrigerated if you do make them. And that's it. It's really a simple little recipe. You're basically just throwing everything in a bowl, blending it together, and then throwing it on a cookie tray, and pop it in the oven, and then throw some toppings on top. You could probably try other kinds of toppings on this besides peanut butter and chocolate. So, till the next video, thank you for your time. Don't forget that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell.